City, a little town where I'm from, where everybody's southern raised, just as good as they come. Backwoods and mossy oak and mud holes, and back then we only ate what the farm grow. Man, I miss some days how we played on them dirt roads, and out of towners came with respect, cause they know we all close. Yeah, Southern pride, towing gun folks. Welcome to my city, I-75 South, just north of Live Oak.
I'm from a city called Austin, Georgia, right on the border of Florida. I was raised on these dirt roads, mud tires, spin backwoods, running around this small town living, yeah. Now welcome to my city, title town, 229, turn it up so they can hear it loud. We headed up with big trucks and heavy G's, pretty girls with moonshine and whiskey.
It's nothing like our dirt roads, you can bet that, son. I'm from a city, by any means, we gon' protect our guns. I hang with the rednecks and geeks. We get up in big trucks in the backwoods like Indians and teepees. This the home of the mighty, mighty Vikings. Wildcats, blazing, title town license. Winners, pretty girls with country grammar. When I say about Austin, Georgia, I ain't talking about Atlanta. This a different type of city, where the woods are pretty, but get gritty. You hear me? What you know about that 229? You can find us on the Florida, Georgia line, where I reside.
I'm from a city called Austin, Georgia, right on the border of Florida. I was raised on these dirt roads, mud tires, spin backwoods, when we ride this small town living, yeah. Now welcome to my city, town, 229, turn it up so they can hear it loud. We headed up with big trucks and heavy G's, pretty girls with moonshine and whiskey. Moonshine and whiskey.
Some folks really don't understand how important it is and never forget where you came from. You know, when I say Lowndes County, man, I mean Lowndes County.
I'm from a city called Austin, Georgia, right on the border of Florida. I was raised on these dirt roads, mud tires, spin backwoods, when we ride this small town living, yeah. Now welcome to my city, town, 229, turn it up so they can hear it loud. We headed up with big trucks and heavy G's, pretty girls with moonshine and whiskey.
Good evening and welcome to the 229. Welcome to the Viking Nation Live. You guys know the drill by now. Every Thursday we get together and have a great old time talking about Lowndes athletics, sports in general, and whatever else is on your mind. Listen, I know, well, some of you are already checking in. I know this is highly unprofessional, but I'm going to take my earpiece off for a second because, listen, I got to do something for Jason Anderson. Many of you know who Jason Anderson is. He's a longtime fan of the show, big super fan for the Viking Nation, but he's a heckler as well. So I had something planned for him tonight and just forgot. So I have to like step across the room for a second. So I'll be right back. Hold on one second. I know this is kind of highly unprofessional, but that's what you've come to expect with this show so far. Oh man, this is gonna be great. This is gonna be great. I assure you, this is worth the extra 60 seconds or so, because several weeks ago I started my crazy hat segment, and I debuted my cowboy hat, and many of you didn't believe my explanation and that kind of stuff. So Jason Anderson was one of them. So he said that I looked like Don Imus. I don't know if you remember who Don Imus was, but he was a guy that was a talk show host up in the New York area, and he was famous for wearing his cowboy hat with the sunglasses. So I've got my Don Imus look tonight that I wanted to debut just for Jason Anderson. So Jason, I hope you're watching, buddy, because this one's for you. So check this out. I want to hear some feedback from you guys. What do you guys think of this look? Check this out. So you recognize my hat by now, right? So here's my Don Imus look. I can't see anything in front of me because these sunglasses are so dark. Listen, we're just having a good time. Don't read anything into this. We're just having a really, really good time. So I appreciate all you guys checking in to the 229 to the Viking Nation Live tonight. So that's enough of that nonsense. Messed up my hair. Had a professional hairstylist work on my hair tonight just for the show. And so, hey, Greg Maddox, appreciate you checking in. Now, Greg is a Viking fan, but I think he is also a Cook County Hornet. Greg, is that right? I think that's right. Well, regardless, welcome to the show tonight. Listen, last week we had a major technical malfunction. Major technical malfunction. And you guys got to witness it live and in person last week. It was so embarrassing. Phone lines wasn't working, that kind of stuff. So I'd like triple check tonight. So if something doesn't work tonight, then something is terribly wrong. And someone probably did sabotage my equipment, but I've got everything working, tested it on a test broadcast earlier tonight just to make sure. Had someone call in, then we listened to the broadcast afterwards. So everything should be working tonight. Trainer, don't you start with me. Don't you start with me. Now, we've got a great lineup of guests for you tonight. The guest that we had scheduled for last week is supposed to call in tonight. So I'm hoping that it's amenable to their schedule. So, Greg, for you folks up in the Cook County area, I know amenable might not be a word that y'all recognize in Hornet land. I'm just kidding, my brother. I'm just kidding. So I hope that their schedules are amenable to what we're trying to do tonight. So who we've got scheduled is Amanda Hughes, the Lowndes girls golf coach, the boys golf coach, Steve Holly. Steve Holly is also an assistant football coach, I believe. And then we also are expecting Michael Barrett to call in at 7:45 tonight. So I'm hoping that works out with all three schedules. So we'll just have to play it by ear and wait and see. Okay. So we'll see. So until then, I want to make some announcements for you guys. First of all, congratulations to the boys and the girls track team there at Lowndes High for winning. Y'all check this out. For winning their 9th region title in a row, not in the history of the program, but in a row. They are region champs for the last 9 straight years. Don't tell me Lowndes is not loaded with athletes. Don't ever tell me that. Especially speedsters. Oh my gosh. When you're talking about boys, and that's pretty consistent. That is pretty consistent. So it's probably a combination of great student athletes that are faster than lightning and also great track coaching because, they've been doing a lot better with their social media and posting their training regimens and track meets and dates and things like that. And you see some of the drills that they go through. And so hats off to our fantastic student athletes and as well as the track and field coaches as well. So, Trainer, you're right. The baseball Vikings are hosting their second round playoff opponent tomorrow afternoon, 4:30, game 1. They're hosting the Grayson Rams. And so let me go ahead and bring up this bracket. Check this out. So if you take a look at the bracket right here, you can follow my mouse. Lowndes is right there. So they finished off Westlake last week. So 15-11 and 12-2. They didn't need a game 3. And so they'll be taking on the Grayson Rams, hosting the Rams at Noel George Field there at Lowndes High. 4:30 tomorrow night. They're going to have a doubleheader. So 4:30 is the first game, second game immediately after that. If there is a need for a third game, that'll be at 1:00 on Saturday. So here's the cool thing. The GHSA held the universal coin toss for the next round, the quarterfinal round. And that is, listen, I know this is a major assumption, but hear me out. If Lowndes defeats Grayson in the second round, that sets up a potential matchup up here in this upper left quadrant. So Lowndes would take on the winner of the Forsyth Central and North Gwinnett playoff matchup. Now, here's the cool thing. North Gwinnett is the number 1 seeded team. Forsyth Central is the number 2 seeded team out of Region 6. If Forsyth Central defeat North Gwinnett, then Lowndes will host the quarterfinal game there. And the more home games you get, the better in the playoffs, right? Now, here's the cool thing. If North Gwinnett, another number 1 seed team, defeats Forsyth Central, then Lowndes, according to my understanding of the universal coin toss, Lowndes will also host the quarterfinal round, because that universal coin toss happened today. Robin Hines at the headquarters of the GHSA did that toss, and it basically came up the team that's in the lower part of the bracket will host if you have 2 like seeded teams. So you guys are oh my gosh. So got some hecklers that are sending me some text about my cowboy. I can't believe you guys don't like my cowboy hat, or some of you don't. Some of you do, because you let me know about it. You find it as funny as all get out. So we're going to have Amanda Hughes calling in at 7:15 tonight. And so that's just in a few minutes. So I need to go ahead and take this off the screen and thank my sponsors. You know who they are by now. I got a new layout on the screen as well. So let's see that it works. Hey, there we go. Minimize my mug and maximize my sponsors mug. And so, you know, the first one, my title sponsor this year is Pepsi of Valdosta. They are great distributors of Pepsi, Mountain Dew, Rockstar, Mountain Dew Energy, Mountain Dew Spark, and I need to go ahead and add this newest drink to this slide, and that is the Starry limited live drink, available at all your retail outlets. So we thank you so much to Pepsi of Valdosta. Thank you to White Oak Investment, Kyle Conger. Kyle and I made a pretty major shift in our investment strategy earlier this week, and that's one of the benefits that you get from a professional. Listen, if you already have a professional financial guy that you trust, stay with them. If you like them, if you don't have someone that you can talk to about sounded financial advice, then give Kyle a call. What do you have to lose? It's a free phone call, 229-850-8848, White Oak Investment. Thank you so much for sponsoring the show and for sponsoring the White Oak Investment comment line as well, Kyle. Thank you so much for your friendship. We also want to thank longtime friend of the show. We talked to Tim last night. I think it was last night. He and his lovely bride, Kathy, were on a drive to somewhere, and we had a quick chat. So we want to thank Tim Neesmith. He owns a company called A Shade of Perfection, where he makes your house, or at least your window coat treatments, beautiful. So we all know the purpose of custom window shading, because you love the look from the inside, but from the outside, it can really beautify your home. If you have a need for that, give Timmy a call. Stickman, as we love to call him, at A Shade of Perfection at 229-251-3479, or on his or on his website, ashadeofperfection.com. We also want to thank these two longtime Gator fans, but also friend of the show and the Viking Nation, and that's Josh Batson and Justin Haskin at the Migraine and Spine Clinic of Valdosta at 229-333-9838. They are your certified headache medicine specialists. I really ought to stop referring to them as knuckleheads or Gator fans, because some of you really dislike the Gators so much that you may not use their service. But I don't want you to do that. These are great guys, pillars of the community, and the most important part to us, they love the Lowndes Vikings. So anyway, support them, the Migraine and Spine Clinic of Valdosta. We'll come back to our sponsors because we got a caller calling in. And my fingers are crossed, because I think this is Lowndes girls golf coach, Coach Amanda Hughes. Coach Hughes, is that you?
That's correct.
Okay, so here's the trick, Coach. I need some feedback from my audience. Do y'all hear both of us this time? I'm praying they say yes.
Hopefully they will.
Yeah, hopefully they will. So, Coach, thank you so much for calling into the show. Listen, first of all, congratulations on a fantastic, great news. they hear you.
They hear me. Okay, good.
So listen, first of all, congratulations on an outstanding golf year. Congratulations on winning both the region and area titles. How good does that make you feel about your team?
I am proud of them. I'm very proud of them. They came together at the right time for sure, and they deserve all the credit. That is for sure. I'm proud of them.
Coach, let me take you back before the start of the season. I'm a golfer myself. I'm not as good as these young ladies, but I'm a golfer myself. And golf in the South is a year-round sport. And I see many of these girls on the driving range here at Stone Creek and other places, and they're perfecting their craft. By the time they get to the season, they're locked in. But how much from your knowledge, how much effort and work do these young ladies put in to their game year round?
They're constantly doing stuff daily. Even on our off days and off season, they're doing stuff. They're playing different junior tours. They definitely put in the hours and put in the time. And we have a young team this year, and I actually have several players already talking about, this summer and wanting to get better in the off season. And what their plans are and stuff like that. So they're definitely putting in the time, putting in the hours that it requires, because golf is not something that is an easy thing to master by any means.
Absolutely. Well, speaking of that team, they are, and please fill in the blanks if I leave someone off this list, but your team consists of Catherine Odom, Kayla Lee, Sophia Martin, Cannon Langdale, and Callie Bellinger. Is that your varsity? That's your varsity team.
That's our varsity. And then we have Miley Hughes and Jaden Simpkins. They're both JV players, young, upcoming. So hopefully they seem to enjoy it. I know they're both taking lessons and doing things outside of practice. So that's a good sign for the future. Like I said, it's very, very young. We've got 4 freshmen, 2 sophomores, and only 1 junior. So we're a young team. So it's exciting to know what these girls are going to do in the upcoming years.
Yeah, speaking of your young team, last year you graduated a couple of really, really good golfers. One of them in particular,
Molly Davis,
Molly Davis, and Evie Summers. And so you had to replace them, and it looks like, and it sounds like you didn't miss a beat. So
no, we did not. We've got some solid freshmen this year. And then, of course, we've got our returning players that, I know what they're capable of. So it is definitely, we definitely did not miss out. We of course missed Molly and Evie, but we definitely picked up where we left off.
Absolutely. So help explain something to me and our audience. We are admittedly football and baseball nuts around here, right? So we understand how the region works and the playoffs works. But when it comes to golf, it's a little bit more foreign to us as far as the postseason goes, because y'all won the region and then you went to an area turn. So explain how that works. What teams consist of the area, and how does the postseason work in golf?
So it starts with area, which is we compete region for region as well at that. And we had, of course, Colquitt, Valdosta, Richmond Hill, Camden. We also had Westlake, Campbell, East Coletta, and Carrollton. So we had all of those, that area that we had to. Your top 2 teams automatically head to state. 3 and 4 go to sectionals, which will be next week, held May 8th and 9th, back up in Carrollton. And then the top 4 out of sectionals will go to state.
Gotcha.
So, and then, of course, your lowest individual on a non-qualifying team in area will automatically go to state and compete as an individual. And then 2 low individuals will come out of sectionals on a non-qualifying team.
Gotcha. Well, you've got a pretty good group of young ladies here. So when you started the season and they started rocking and rolling, was that something you expect? You said that you had a young team coming back. As good as they did early on, was that something you expected, or were you pleasantly surprised?
I kind of expected it out of them because, like I said, I knew what my returning players were capable of. And I, of course, I knew Catherine Odom. I know what she did at the middle school. And Sophia Martin, I, talked with her dad a lot and kind of followed her a little bit to see what all she kind of, was bringing to the table. Cannon Langdale, I knew what she had to offer. So I kind of expected it. And then watching them early in practice, I kind of knew. And then after that first tournament in Houston, we scored 235 Houston. And I knew, I was like, okay, yeah, we've got something here.
Gotcha.
Team dynamic. The girls I love them all. They get along great. So I think it's going to be very promising in the upcoming years. And then we head to state next month. So we'll see what happens.
Coach, golf at the high school levels and the college level, it's kind of unique versus the pro level. Pros, it's all individuals. But at the high school level, you got two components. You got the individual and the team component. How well does your team, these individual ladies, how well do they gel together? And sometimes it's hard for you to be on your game all the time. How well do they gel together and pick each other up when someone's not having their best round?
They actually do really well with it. That is one thing that, we talk about is support and things like that, and keeping the motivation going, because there's going to be that bad days in golf. You're going to make mistakes. You're going to make mental mistakes, physical mistakes, all that kind of stuff. But it's just to keep going. And like I told them, never quit it, because, your score may count at the end, because they take the top 3 scores out of 5 with the girls. So, I tell them all, hey, just keep going. And they do well, and they're always asking, how are the other girls doing? But we've actually started using a app this year. DHSA has made us start using I Wanamaker. So the girls actually enter their scores as they play on their cell phones in an app. So they can see they can see what other girls are doing and stuff like that if they look.
Wow.
So there'll be a live leaderboard type thing now that everybody can see. So that's a change this year.
Gotcha.
So we've been working on that.
So coming into the postseason in the sectional tournaments, and your team has been doing so well, so you've probably have hit the radar for other squads across the state, right? And since your team has done so well, sometimes, especially a young team, it can affect your ego. Let's just have some real talk here, Coach. Sometimes it can affect adults as well. We're playing well, it can affect our egos. How concerned are you about, keeping your team grounded, or they just naturally do that?
They're pretty good at doing it. That's something we do, because golf in itself is a humbling sport. It'll take you high and it'll take you low really quick. And I think they know that. And that is something, like, I knew we were one of probably the 3 favorites going into area and region, and they of course knew who to look out, who we were looking out for and stuff. But I told them, I said, you're playing the golf course. That's the biggest thing. You play the course and play it hole for hole, shot for shot, and at the end of the day, it's going to be what it's going to be. But don't go thinking you're going to shoot lights out, anything. Don't get over your head. Don't get too cocky, because the game itself will knock you down. Absolutely.
Coach, final question for you. Well, actually, 1.5 questions left. The first question is, it just seems like, from someone that's on the outside looking into Lowndes Athletics, it just seems like we have so many different teams that are doing so well, whether it's golf or, the track and field team. Both the boys and girls are region champs again for 9 straight years. The football team has traditionally done well. The baseball team still in the playoffs. They've made some deep run. What do you think is different about the culture at Lowndes Athletics? Do y'all do something that's different there, or is it just you just got great student athletes coupled with really, really good coaching? What is unique with Lowndes Athletics?
I think it's a combination of the student athletes, the coaches, as well as the support from teachers, administration, athletic director, everything. I think it's just a combination of everything, and the kids, the facilities, just everything. The kids want to work for it. So I think that's what I think is the difference. I think that they just want to go out there and they want to win. And I think, what is it, Coach Carter's thing is compete. Yep. I think that's his saying. So I think that's what they want to do.
Fantastic. Well, Coach, final question for you is, as good as these girls are in their golf match, whether it's Molly and Abby last year. You got a young team that's really, really good this year. So, just between us, nobody else is listening. Can you take these girls in a round of golf?
I would definitely. I mean, I've played with some, but no, I would straight up, no, I would not take them because I know what they would do. I could probably get in their heads mentally, but no, I would not take them head on.
I gotcha. Well, Coach, we appreciate your honesty on the show. That's for sure. Listen. Well, congratulations once again for winning the region title. Best of luck in the sectionals and the state tournament. So, when the season's over, I'm going to call you just to see if we can get a couple of the young ladies to come on the show, just talk about their season, their training regimen, that kind of stuff. Because we do have a lot of golfers in the community that would love to hear from our student athletes.
Perfect, because these girls love talking, so that would be wonderful.
Coach, I've got a 21-year-old daughter that went through the high school experience not long ago. You ain't lying. Teenage girls, they can talk.
They can talk. That is for sure.
Absolutely.
Let me know, and I'll be glad to get them on for you.
Thank you so much for calling. Thank you for being patient with our technical difficulties this last week, and congratulations and best of luck the rest of the season.
All right. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
All right. Bye.
Hey, there she is, Coach Amanda Hughes. Listen, I know that some of you think, like, why are we talking about golf? Many of you are very supportive. Listen, this is the Viking Nation, and it's not the football nation. So we want to make sure that we cover as many sports as it's impossible to cover all the sports because we got a small staff. But we want to, when we have time, we want to give coverage and recognition to all the great student athletes there at Lowndes High and the fantastic coaches that pour so much into our student athletes. So congratulations to the Lowndes girls golf team. So in a few minutes, we're expecting, well, this might be him right here. Hey, caller, welcome to the Viking Nation Live. What's on your mind?
Larry, this is Coach Holly.
Coach Holly, how are you, man?
Man, I'm great.
Listen, I've got you in front of this audience now. And so I'm kind of disappointed in you, though, because I gave you the choice of calling in or putting your pretty mug on the screen with me, and you chose the call-in route. Coach, what's up with that?
Well, I told you last week, I know you didn't want to see my face, but when you didn't want to even listen to us, I just couldn't believe it. So, no, I'm actually just getting home, and I don't have many computers or phones that have cameras on them. So this is how we got to roll. Completely understand. Well, regardless of all the technical stuff, Coach, you had a fantastic year and it's still really ongoing with your golf team. So congratulations on a region championship. Came up not really short, but came up in second in the area tournament. So congratulations on a fine year. Thank you. And we did. And we Coach Wisham has a saying in our weight room: pressure does one of two things. It either busts pipes or builds diamonds. And I really stressed our golf team prior to the area tournament. We actually played golf 5 days in a row, including area. And that's walking, carrying your bag. We played up in North Georgia where the hills were. And, I just felt like we needed to stress our team a little bit and get on some tree line courses. And I told them going into the area tournament, I said, look, you got two choices. You can win the whole thing, and that solves our problem, or you can finish second and be region champs. Either way, we do not have to go to sectionals. And, and that's where we failed. We kind of gave it away coming down the stretch. I guess Carrollton knew not to hit it in the water, and we decided to hit it in the water every time. No. But no, I was super proud of our guys. They, they understood what the goal was, and we didn't want to go to sectionals, and they made it happen. So, we finished second in the area, but we're right where we need to be. Absolutely. Hey, you brought up something that I really didn't think of. The golf courses down here are so much different versus Middle Georgia and North Georgia. So how do y'all train for hilly courses like that? Because there is a dramatic difference in golf courses up in the North Georgia versus South Georgia. So how do y'all account for that? There's huge differences, like you said, but, it really basically depends on where we're hosting state, and it goes back and forth, north and south. We have the luxury of hosting state at our home course at Kinderloo at the end of May. But, we, depending on where our tournaments are, we go play up north. We'll go spend 2 or 3 days up north, and, if we got to go up there and play for the state. So we just schedule our tournaments correctly and put them on courses. And there's some around here that are tougher than others that provide different things, with trees, lining the fairways. A lot of times we get used to playing Kinderloo where you can bring the big stick out and,
right.
You're pretty much safe either way you go. But, we just schedule it right and get our kids on all the courses we need. We went over to the Blueberry Plantation, and, of course, it was a totally different course, but it helped us when we played at Carrollton finally, because it wasn't I'm going to hit my driver, then I'm going to hit an 8-iron into the green. It was, I've got to hit an iron off the tee box. I'm hitting another iron. You had to play your numbers right. So we just try to put them on the courses that they're going to play for the important tournaments and go from there.
Coach, I got to admit something to you. One of your golfers, family friend, Jacob Spies, wonderful golfer, wonderful person, and from a great family. I've been playing golf with he and his dad for many, many years. And, early on when he was in middle school, he and I would trash talk back and forth on a golf course. The trash talking from me came like in 2 rounds. And then I quit trash talking because I couldn't keep up with the kid. So that's the kind of golfing talent that you have at your disposal. Talk about how pleasantly how good these golfers really are.
You probably said more nice things about Jacob Spieth than I ever have. So I'm just kidding. Spieth is my boy. For the first time in a long time, we're probably deeper 1 through 10 than we've ever been. We actually carried 16 kids, and if everybody answers this honestly, our cut line was probably somewhere around 84. So you kind of think, hey, could I have made this golf team? But we've got 10 kids that consistently shoot in the 70s. We carried an A team, which is 6 kids, a B team with 4 more, and then a JV with 6. But it is so competitive right now in the state of Georgia as a whole. Golf has just gotten so much better, but our kids really, really work at it. I tell them all the time, I get out there on the course, and of course I go to trash talking with all the other people playing. I'm trying to earn me some more money, off these kids, but no, they're super competitive. If we were looking at depth 1 through 10, there's nobody in the state that can touch us. But you can play 6 and score 4, so it gets tighter. But our team has just really gotten so much more competitive, and all our golf courses here in town, which Kinderloo's our home course, and our middle schools use Stone Creek and Quiet Pines, and man, those people are just so good to us, and they believe that the future of their club or their course is these kids, and they let us play, and that's why we've gotten so much better, is just because of the support of these golf courses. And like I said, Terry Davis at Kinderloo and Heath Allen, the superintendent, and the rest of the Kinderloo family, they're too good to us, honestly. I mean, they just, anything we ask, they're just willing to help. But you're right. Our team is very competitive, and they're a fun bunch to be around for sure.
Absolutely. Now, speaking of your team, fill in the blanks for the names that I leave out if you think I'm missing somebody. But the varsity team, I want to make sure I recognize them at least. I think I got this right. Evan Hanks, Jackson Arnold, Jacob Spies, Briggs Shumaleski, I think, Landon Bassford, and Pate Langdale. Did I get it? Did I get them all?
Yeah, those are the 6 that have been playing on our A team, and our B team guys who are actually gonna have some qualifiers to see if they can't make the tournament is, James Cohen, Caleb Shiver, Mason Pate, Mason Hodges, and then our JV guys are mostly freshmen. We've got I call them Warren Garland, Wade Krantz, Ben Holly, the Scott twins, Noah and Porter, and Julian John. So, those are 16 guys, and like I said, we've got 10 guys pushing for 6 spots. and I feel confident in any of them in playing. But we've got some young ones, but I do want to touch on those three seniors.
Yeah.
You called them Jacob Spieth, Landon Bassford, and Briggs Chmielewski. All three of those guys have had opportunities and offers to play college golf. Briggs was offered by Savannah State. He also got accepted to Georgia the same week, and weighed out his options, and felt like Georgia was the best for his future. And Spieth is still waiting on a phone call that I believe will happen, but he's had several offers. He wants to go to Georgia College to go to school, and I think they'll eventually come on board. And we've been in contact with them. But Landon Bassford signed yesterday with Valdosta State, so all three of those guys. Everybody asks me every tournament, those three have been with you 20 years, and yeah, it seems like it, but they're part of our success of our golf program. The 4 years that they've been a part of our golf team or our golf program, COVID shut them down their freshman year. They were region runner-ups as sophomores, and now they've gone back-to-back region champs. And, they finished in the top 5 in the state. And, we're expecting that again. I mean, we don't run from expectations. We love them. We accept them. And, that's where we want to be. We're trying to get in the top 3. And then if you get in the top 3, see what happens.
Absolutely. Listen, you've been working with student athletes for a long, long time. I know you from the football field. You coach golf as well. You've got a very, very deep, like you describe, a very deep program here. And these kids, they probably know they're pretty good. How do you keep them grounded and prepared, or do they do that on their own?
I probably talk more trash to them than anybody else. They probably get tired, or when they get mad or upset, I tell them, well, you could have my golf game. But no, these kids, the hardest thing, and it's kind of different from girls golf, I guess. These guys think they're supposed to shoot 18 under.
Yeah. And
the hardest thing we have is just talking course management and understanding the course. But they are buying in. They're seeing it pay off. I mean, if you come to my classroom, it looks like a trophy case because we hadn't moved all our trophies to the trophy case that we've got this season. But these guys are all great students, great kids. They stay even keel, and not a lot of things rattle them. That's it. I mean, and they know they're good, but just like Coach Hughes said, golf can punish you now.
It can.
So they understand that. So they've got a good mindset every time we play. And, we always talk about golf as a forward sport. You can't change what you made on the last hole, and whether it be good or bad, you got to keep playing forward. And, I know Coach Hughes said that our biggest thing is we focus on every score counts. So you can't quit on your round. So it just really makes them focus and I never ask them what the score is. Now that I can see the app, I always know. But I just, give me a thumbs up, thumbs down, and let's roll on. So
that's right.
But no, they're all level-headed and grounded, and so it's not too hard to keep them even keel, I guess.
Coach, listen, you brought up trash talking with your team a couple times. So got to ask you at least one question about that. So you talked about you trash talk. So these are teenage boys. So if someone trash talk them, they're going to trash talk back. What do they like to say to you, or what's your most memorable trash talking moment?
Well, I've been on several videos of my swing, and they always get kicks out of that. And when we had Ebby and Molly, geez, I think I was on every snap all over the United States of America. But so they know to get me. They know my handicap is that I am handicapped, and so they all know that they could blow me off the course without even trying that hard. But no, it's all in good fun. And the thing of it is, it doesn't matter what sport you're coaching. It's about relationships.
That's right.
You got to have those good times, and you got to have those serious times. And I think that's one of the things that we all do well at Lowndes is that we get the most out of our kids.
Yeah.
And that's the beautiful thing about Lowndes. And, I don't know how much more time I have left. And I heard you ask Amanda about the culture. and I get asked this question all the time. I've been a couple of different places, and I really want to answer this. You get asked all the time, what makes Lowndes different?
Mm-hmm.
Why is Lowndes different? Is Lowndes different? Absolutely. Lowndes is different, and they use that C word all the time, culture. Look, Lowndes isn't just Lowndes High School. Lowndes is a community.
Absolutely. Amen, Coach.
Every person that has gone to Lowndes, pulls for Lowndes, is a part of our culture.
Yep.
Our band is a part of our culture. Our track team, kudos to them, Coach Robinson and Coach Quinn. I mean, what makes Lowndes different is this. And I know I got to go because you got Mike Barrett calling. But what makes Lowndes different is that we truly care for each other.
Yeah, amen.
We won the region championship in golf, and before I stepped off the course, I already had 8 text messages from coaches at Lowndes High School of other sports. Baseball won a region championship immediately. Congratulations to those guys. I mean, we truly care. Basketball, Coach Benjamin, Coach Tooks, we care for one another. We are a family.
Absolutely.
When one hurts, we all hurt. And, when John Bowman has a competition, I go out there and grill fries. And that's just the way we are at Lowndes. It's just different. We're a family.
Amen.
And it doesn't matter if you're there now, was there, 50 years ago, doesn't matter. If you got that Viking, tattooed on your chest, so to speak, you're a Viking. And that's what makes Lowndes different. We care for one another and we pull for one another. And, that comes from the top. Our ADs and our principals, they're the same way. Emails constantly and phone calls. And, I didn't tell my golf team this, but Coach Redshaw called us before we played in the region championship and said, look, I need you to win the region championship. And all I said was, yes, sir, we got it done. But, that's what makes Lowndes different. We love one another.
Absolutely, Coach. Listen, here it is. We're at 7:43 on a Thursday night, storming outside, and we're talking to our community about the Lowndes golf team. That's the kind of support you're talking about.
Absolutely. And we joke about that. But last week, before you had your mishap,
yeah.
Well, and I know we don't want to bring that back up, but I was actually on the phone with a college coach and said, hey, I got to go. I've got to talk to a Facebook Live show.
That's awesome.
And he said, you have got to be kidding. He said, what are you talking about? I said, we're talking about golf. I mean, he was just blown away that anybody would be talking about golf, whether it be college golf, high school golf, but we were on a Facebook Live, promoting our kids and promoting our sport and promoting our school. And he texted me after that. And he said, I still cannot believe that's how y'all are down there. And so,
Coach,
kudos to you for promoting our sports and everybody else.
Absolutely. Listen, it's more than just me behind them. We've got a staff of people that basically goes mostly unrecognized. They do a great job. But listen, here's the idea here to give our audience an idea of what we're talking about, kind of support that we get. That is, here we are in the off season. We'll consider the off season of football where everything kind of slows down. People's attention's not quite there, that kind of stuff. But even with the technical mishaps last night, I went back and looked at the stats, Coach. We had almost 900 people tune in to listen to Lowndes Golf and Michael Barrett. That's the kind of support this community loves to show Lowndes Athletics.
Well, that was probably for Coach Hughes and Michael Barrett, not me.
Mike just joined us in our green room in our virtual set. So I'm going to cut you loose, Coach. Listen, thank you so much. Hey, before you go though, Michael, please be patient with. Before you go, Coach, you've been also a long part or big part of Lowndes football. We got a new coaching staff coming in. What if you don't mind me asking, what's going to be your role with the football? Are you going to step back from that? Are you going to continue in your role with football, or what's the plans for Steve Holly?
No, my role is still the same, and I'm still the 9th grade head coach. And,
okay.
I've always said at Lowndes, it's a program thing. It doesn't matter if you're the 6th grade coach or the head coach. You're coaching football for the big program, and that's what's special. And I'll be honest with you, I'm kind of let down. I'm getting pushed off the phone for a former player, Mike Barrett. I cannot believe this is finally happening. But no, hey, I love Mike Barrett, and I still stand by what I told him many years ago. I love him not for what he does, but for who he is. If you got a young child, you get them registered in Mike Barrett's football camp, because he is one of the best human beings I've ever been around. And I would definitely let my child spend as much time as they could with Michael Barrett.
Absolutely. Well, Coach, with that said, again, congratulations for a phenomenal golf season. I know it's not over yet, so let's bring home a state championship.
Absolutely. Go Vikings.
Go Vikings. Have a good night, Coach.
You too.
Well, there he is. We've had Coach Amanda Hughes and Coach Steve Holly, the boys and girls golf coaches, calling in. And now we've got where's that? Somebody else calling into the program. So, but now we've got Michael Barrett, former. Michael, is it proper for me? Is it proper for me to introduce you as former Lowndes Viking? Because I don't think you could ever be a former Lowndes Viking. Right. Once a Viking, always a Viking, right?
Once a Viking, always a Viking. You know, die hard Viking. You know, it never goes away. So I mean, you can call me a former Viking because I'm too old to kind of wear that.
Too old.
You know, that crimson and gray now. So.
Well, appreciate you calling into the or joining us on the screen tonight. Listen, when you called in last week and we were having our technical problems, let me go ahead and take this off the screen for a second. Having our technical problems, I got to tell you, man, I was blown away at the humility in your voice, and I got a big laugh at the same time. You probably remember what I'm talking about. You called in and said, "Hi, this is Michael Barrett. You know, I used to be with the Lowndes Vikings. I'm having," and it's like, "Wait, Michael, you're Michael Barrett, one of the greatest athletes come out of Lowndes football." I think everybody in the community knows who Michael Barrett is. Hey, listen, with that said, thank you so much for, you know, taking the time out, because you know, everybody recognizes that you're a big time athlete at a big time D1 school. So for you to take time out of your schedule to really call back to your community. So kudos and thank you so much for calling in tonight.
Thank you. I appreciate you having me on here. I appreciate it.
Listen, before we get to the event that you're going to be hosting, let me ask you a couple of questions about your time at Lowndes High and some things that you've done at University of Michigan. What do you miss about Friday nights playing in Martin Stadium? What do you miss the most?
It's a lot, man. I've thought about this over this. It probably replays in my head probably every other night.
Yeah.
Just times, you know, down in the Concrete Palace, you know, just it's so many. So from the Wintersville Classic to the fans, to just being out there with my teammates on a daily. I mean, it's pretty much miss everything about it.
Listen, I'm going to bring up one memory. Let's see if you remember it. Do you remember the highest scoring game at Lowndes High that you were a part of?
Versus
Hillgrove.
Hillgrove, first round of playoffs.
What was that? I can't remember. The final score was like 92-61 or some crazy thing like that. So that's going to be a memory that you never forget. But obviously, you've never been in a game like that or like that, you know, before that game or after that game. How does it feel to score 90-something points in a football game?
It feels crazy. I mean, everybody was asking if we were playing basketball out there. But yeah, I just have to keep running it up. I mean, it feels great. And it always feels great to touch the end zone. So it felt great to be a part of that kind of history.
Now, this is kind of a comical type of question. When you were there at your senior year, I remember that you wore a pair of gold cleats onto the football field. So what was you just like gold cleats? What was the significance of that? And do you still wear that at Ann Arbor?
No, I had the pair sitting in my locker just as a backup pair. I kind of wore them to practice every now and then. And the cleats, I remember the game you're talking about against Colquitt in the region championship.
That's right.
And like the cleats that I had on, they just kind of was messing up my toe, and they ended up like breaking or something. So I needed a new pair, so I had to run inside and go get a new pair of cleats. And Coach Mac didn't know that they were gold. He didn't know that I was talking about my gold cleats when I told him I had to go get my cleats. And so I came back out there with my gold cleats, and everybody was just talking about it. He kind of gave me a look, but
well, speaking of Coach Mack, so you go off to the University of Michigan. You know, Coach Mack, he's since retired, but when he was there as head coach, he was known as an old school ball coach that taught you guys a very physical brand of football, right? So you grew up in Region 17A, playing a physical brand of football. So you go up to the University of Michigan. How does football at a major D1 school at Michigan compare to the high school level as far as physicality goes?
I mean, it's just physical at all levels. Every level, everybody is, on that same. It's just, I would just say, just that physicality on every level would be the difference. One thing I will say though, just playing football in South Georgia definitely gets you ready for the next level.
I
South
got you.
Georgia is different from football scene. How football is viewed down south is different than a lot of places. So yeah,
Absolutely.
growing up down at Lowndes, it really helped in a lot of ways.
Well, speaking of South Georgia, Lowndes versus Ann Arbor, so you go from the deep South to the polar opposite of the United States, and that's the extreme North. So what kind of culture shock did you experience, if any, when you first went to Michigan?
I'm sorry, you connected to my AirPods, so I didn't hear that last question. Can you say that one
That's
more
okay.
time?
That's okay. So, we were talking about you, playing at Lowndes in South Georgia prepared you for major D1 school, but really you grew up in South Georgia, you played down here, you grew up in the deep South, and you go up to college in the complete polar opposite to the extreme northern part of the United States where everything's what kind of culture shock did you experience, if any, when you made that transition?
Yeah, I mean, just especially with the weather, that was kind of one thing that everyone kind of asked me about before going up there, and I just had a feeling that my first winter there was going to be one of the worst ones in history. I had a feeling about it, and yeah, like my first winter there, it was my wake up call for where I was. I think it got down to like -25. It's something called a polar vortex. I don't even think nobody down south even heard of something like that. But yeah, it's called a polar vortex. It got down, wind chill was like -30, and like they had to cancel everything. So I kind of got a quick wake up call, kind of soon as I got there. But yeah, just the culture of just being in a big school like that. It was different. But I like the kind of classes and things I would say athletes kind of went through when we first got here, kind of
Yeah.
got us kind of adjusted to things like that. But yeah, the weather would probably be the biggest change I had to get used to.
Well, cool. So you go to Michigan, and I've been following your career since you've been up there, and it just seems like when you first got, when you were at Lowndes, your first year, I remember you made All-State as a linebacker, and then you switched over to the other side of the ball, became a fantastic quarterback at the high school level. Then you go up to Michigan, Michael, and it just seems like for the first couple of years, the way I saw it was Coach Harbaugh didn't quite really know how to utilize your talents. Was that the case, or what was going on there?
Yeah, I mean, that was kind of pretty much where I was coming out of high school. Just a lot of people didn't know what I would play or what I could play or what they would put me at, because I kind of just had that versatility to just be able to do so many different things. And yeah, I kind of was just everyone kind of saw me as a little too short to be a quarterback, so that kind of went out the window a little bit. And yeah, like my freshman year, I probably moved positions probably changed position 5 different times. My
Wow.
freshman. and yeah, I ended up finding a home. Well, then it was Viper. That was like the little hybrid position, and yeah, went from there. Found a home at inside backer and just took it from there.
Gotcha. So last year you had a fantastic year. I saw it as a Michael Barrett coming out party at University of Michigan. I remember you playing in that rivalry game with Ohio State. You had a fantastic game. You guys came out on top. What's it like playing in a rivalry game? I know on one level there's no comparison, but on another there might be. What's it like playing in a big rivalry game like the Wintersville Classic versus playing in a rivalry game, Michigan versus Ohio State?
Um, Honestly, I can't lie. It's nothing that compares to the Winterville Classic to me.
Yeah,
I say that, like just football down south is different. Like just the fans, just you know, in general, just how football is viewed. Like it's really, especially down in Valdosta, like it's Wintersville. It's a football city, football town. And yeah, like I try I compare it a lot. It's a lot of similarities when it comes down to it, with just like the fan bases going back and forth, and just the overall like weight of the game. I would say kind of the biggest similarities that I point out. But yeah, I tell guys up here, man, I show videos all the time. Like, yeah, y'all don't know nothing about football down south, man. It's a different kind of game.
absolutely. Hey, one of our viewers, Franklin Webb's got a question for you. Did you go to any high school games in Michigan? And if so, how do they compare in attendance?
No, I've never been to a game. I've seen some videos and people talk to me about it, but the attendance is nowhere close. It's probably it's um I would say like like their attendance versus ours high school wise will probably be like our middle school games.
Okay.
Yeah, football is viewed differently. Like the fans are more into it. Like it's the love for it. I feel like it's just a little different.
Well, I'm going to ask you something about your training in college. When you were down here, Coach Wisham runs a pretty good weight room down here. But I've heard and I've seen YouTube videos. When you go to college, it's like their training is like at a whole new level. Were you prepared for that, or how did you to adapt to their training when you got there?
Yeah, I feel like I was adapted to it. I feel like Coach Wisham runs a great, program down there in the weight room, and I feel like I was really prepared. Especially, I feel like I was a little more prepared than a lot of guys, and yeah, coming from working and
Yeah,
down south and in the heat all the time, yeah, I feel like definitely got me prepared for the college level. But yeah, I mean, like you said, like it is more intense. They do have it is those days where it'll jump up on you. Kind of have to get used to it and kind of go through that process. But
I got
I'm
you.
a little more prepared than everyone else.
So, Mike, I want to make sure I get this right. So you're going back to, or you're returning to Michigan for at least one more year, right? Just your senior year coming up.
This will be my 6th year. I'm finishing my master's in social work.
All right.
My last year.
I got you. Listen, congratulations to you, the fantastic academic work, the football work that you're doing up there. So, as far as the Michigan program goes, you guys have come up just short last couple of years, making the postseason. And now this upcoming season, if I'm not mistaken, they're going to expand the playoffs to like 12 teams this year. So I know Coach Harbaugh wants to get to that championship game. What kind of what's he been saying to you guys? Give us a little bit of behind the scenes look, because as an athlete, as a competitor, it probably didn't sit well with him or you guys as players to come up a little bit short. So how do you guys prepare to get to that next level, that final game?
Yeah, I mean, just working on our crafts, working on everything that we feel kind of can hurt us. Just trying to let go of dead weight, we say, and just trying to be perfect at everything. Everything we do, attention to the little details. Always preaching that. Always preaching on always being ready and just continuing to work. I mean, we've come close to the past 2 years, and I really feel like we got a chance this year to go get it. So we just continue doing what we're doing, and just keep going at it.
I got you. How big of a goal or a dream is it for you to potentially play in the NFL? That might be a silly question, but is that your ultimate goal? Would you like to continue to play in the NFL?
Yeah, most definitely. I feel like that's just always been a dream of mine since I was little. I always kind of looked up to that, and that's always been something I've dreamed of doing. So I'm definitely planning on continuing, my football career.
I got you. Well, until then, you're planning on coming back to the community. Let's talk about this event that you're going to be hosting pretty soon. It's the Youth Football Camp, Mike Barrett Youth Football Camp. That's going to be occurring pretty soon, May 13th from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. First of all, why did you feel led to have an event like this back at Lowndes?
I mean, it was just something I remember doing, growing up with like Randall Godfrey, going to his camps and things like that when I was younger, and that was something that was had an impact on me. I feel like in my football career, and it's always been a thought of mine. Like I definitely won't have wanted to do this since I've left Lowndes, and it's just a way for me to give back for everything that I've gotten from the community. Might as well give back. So yeah, that was pretty much it. I just felt like since I have some off time and I'll be down there, might as well.
Okay, so it's for ages 6 through 18. So really includes a lot of different age groups there.
Mm-hmm.
But it's basically a limited space type of event. You're taking 300 participants. So the first 300 people sign up. Now I got to emphasize, Michael, this is a free camp for these kids ages 6 to 18, right? So it is free. Guys, if you are interested in getting your kid signed up for this camp, you see the contact information right there on your screen. Mike, it's they can contact your parents, Anatrin Barrett and Mike Barrett. You see the numbers on the screen, 229-269-1429 or 630-7575. Or you can email Mike Barrett Football Camp at gmail.com. Now, it is true that this is a free camp, but there's going to be some expenses. So, guys, especially if you're a business, if you can step up and help sponsor and offset some of these costs, I'm sure, Mike, that you guys will be taking donations for that.
Yeah, I was just about to say that. I appreciate you saying that. We're looking for any donations. Anything helps. If you're willing to donate, shirts. We're looking for food to be cooked, giveaway gifts, any little thing like that. Or just money to kind of pay for things. Anything will help, and we'll appreciate it. And all donations will be recognized in some way, and I will appreciate it in advance.
Absolutely. Well, do you get a chance to come on? During the off season, you guys are probably pretty busy during the season, but in your downtime, what do you like to do there at Michigan?
Yeah, I mean, for the most part, it's busy. It's either working out, meetings, walkthroughs, or school. But other than that, I'm just here on the game, watching TV. I got 2 little dogs now, be running around here, so I'm gonna be chasing after them. But yeah, kind of simple, just taking walks with the dogs, hanging out.
So I forgot to ask you this a while ago when you were talking about, just first getting up there to Michigan. They call it the big house for a reason. So I'm not exactly sure the capacity of that state. Is it 100,000?
I think the capacity, I think it's 112. The most I've seen in there was like 112, I think.
So you grew up playing at Martin Stadium, the Concrete Palace, the closest that we have at the high school level at that kind of craziness at a football game is the Wintersville Classic, where the stadium is packed out. But how did you feel the first time you walked onto that field up at Ann Arbor in front of 112,000 people?
Yeah, it was crazy. It felt like running out for the Wintersville Classic, to be honest.
Did it really?
Yeah, when I first walked out. I can say though, I feel like the Wintersville Classic may be a little louder. I don't know.
What?
That's because of how the big house is shaped. Like, it's shaped like a bowl.
Oh, okay.
So, like, everyone's kind of far away from the field, and like when they yell, that everything goes up and out. So it's from the field, it's not as loud as when you're out like in the stadium.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it feels great though running out there. The crowd gets fired up when it's 112,000. It's gonna be loud regardless though. So it's a good time.
Listen, man, final question. We're thankful for you being generous with your time. Final question is, I got to ask this question because we had a lot of band parents that watch this, and you know what I'm going to ask you about the Georgia Bridgman. So this question is for the band director, John Bowman, the president of the Booster Club, Chris Bisher. So you've experienced 450 members of the Georgia Bridgman. What's it like? What is the band for the Michigan Wolverines like?
It's traditional. I feel like we have a lot of traditions that kind of go into it. I'm not sure the number in our band. It's nowhere near as big as the Georgia Brisbane. Though.
What?
Yeah, no, it's no, there's no way.
Gotcha.
But yeah, it's I don't even know. It's good.
Well, listen, man, we appreciate you calling into the show tonight. One final reminder for you guys. So Mike is going to be in town May 13th hosting the youth football camp, Mike Barrett Youth Football Camp, May 13th from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. He's taking the first 300 registrations, 300 participants, ages 6 to 18, completely free. So if you would like to go ahead and register, you see the contact information on the screen. Guys, if you own a business or if you're an individual and just want to contribute to help offset some of the costs, like, all these camp kids are probably going to be getting the t-shirt. You got to pay for that. There's going to be expenses involved. So as a community, we're just asking that we all rally around Mike Barrett and this fantastic event that's going to be he's holding for the youth in our community. So let's step up and help him out. And if you would like to contribute and donate, you can contact the same contact information right there on the screen. So with that said, Mike Barrett, listen, congratulations. Thank you so much for what you did while you were at Lowndes High School. We all, man, love showing up on a Friday night and watching you show out in front of the home stadium. We really enjoy watching you show out for the Michigan Wolverines, unless you're playing the Georgia Bulldogs. You knew that was coming, right?
It was coming. I've been eyeing the little G back there behind you.
I see that.
So, it was coming sooner or later. I knew something was gonna come up with it. So it's fine. We're gonna catch him again this year. We're gonna see.
Absolutely, man. Can't wait to see you back in Lowndes County. So until then, hey, can we get a Go Vikings from you one last time before you exit the show?
Of course. Go Vikings.
Absolutely. Michael Barrett, thank you so much for joining the Viking Nation Live. We'll catch up with you again soon.
All right. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Well, there he is, the one and only Mike Barrett. Listen, we enjoyed – how often did Mike thrill us on a Friday night? When we were talking to him about that game with Hillgrove, 92-61, I'm serious. What an incredible game that was, right? I remember being in the booth that night, helping with the radio crew, and I was doing some spotting and recording stats and that kind of stuff. I remember when we scored like 80 points, and it was going back and forth. And I remember leaning over next to someone and whispering, we just scored 80 points, but I'm still nervous about possibly losing this game. That was how tense and crazy that night was, wasn't it? Listen, we tried to have this show last week. I promised you that it was going to be a great show because of the guest. Man, all the guests did a fantastic job. First, Amanda Hughes, thank you so much to the Lowndes girls golf coach. Thank you so much to Steve Holly, the boys golf coach, on an outstanding season. And they are continuing that in the postseason. They'll be playing in sectionals and then the state tournament. So congratulations to both of those coaches for being region champs. Congratulations to the Lowndes track and field team, both the boys and girls, for 9 straight years as region champs. And thank you so much to Mike Barrett for tuning in, for dialing in and connecting again with his alma mater and his community, and especially the Viking Nation. So thank you so much. If you guys want to help out, if you want to register for that youth camp, there's the contact information once again. But guys, they really need some help offsetting the cost of this, because there are going to be some significant costs associated with putting on an event like this. So if you have, the Viking Nation is going to be, giving a donation to help with the cost. So I would encourage you as a community to do so as well. So anyway, guys, with that said, that's going to wrap it up for our show tonight. It's almost 8:15. That includes all of our guests. And one final time, y'all giddy up, have a great weekend, and we'll see y'all next week. Capiche? I don't know if that last part goes with the hat, cowboy hat, but anyway, you get what I'm saying. With that said, guys, may God bless you. Have a great weekend. Stay safe outside of this weather. And as always, go Vikings. Adios.